Mild recovery in Bank Nifty, mild recovery again in some of the other large cap stocks. But the coronavirus impact has really shaken up the core business cycle, at least for the hospitality industry. So let's take our conversation forward with Mr. Ajay Bakaya, Managing Director with Sarovar Hospitals. Ajay, good morning and thank you for joining us. How bad has the coronavirus hit the hospitality industry and what is the update at Sarovar Hotels?
Well, if you'll allow me, I'll do a yesterday, today, and tomorrow. As of end of February, Sarovar Hotels and the Indian hospitality industry at large has done very well. Our numbers till the end of February were ahead of forecast. Today is a somewhat different scenario. We are still close to our numbers, but we have a fair number of cancellations coming in as an impact of Corona. International travel is feeling the pinch. International conferencing and meeting is feeling the pinch. I expect in March that we will see a particularly poor month, perhaps 20% below whatever we'd forecast for the month of March. We are somewhat fortunate that this is the end of the India winter tourist season. So the bulk of weddings, the bulk of convention conference, and the bulk of inbound traffic businesses is behind us. So perhaps that's a bit of a consolation, but I think March is going to be difficult, and I can't go beyond that. It will all depend upon how the next few days pan out and how the virus behaves in the next few days to come.
Typically, when you have cancellations, typically when marriages and seminars and conferences, they are cancelled. Who takes the haircut?
Marriages are postponed, they're not cancelled.
I beg your pardon, marriages are delayed or venues are cancelled. Yeah. Yes, stand corrected on that.
In a case like this, where it is unavoidable, and when it's unavoidable, it's beyond anyone's control. The hotel takes a haircut. We do not see this as a case where we would hold back people's money just because they can't make it. It's way beyond individual control. And even if people are just playing safe, I think we would go along with that. It's in everyone's interest. So the hotel is directly taking the haircut.
Okay. Given that...
we'll all have crew cuts.
Right. Given that we're seeing this impact the industry globally in your conversations as well, what are you hearing in terms of whether or not the panic is increasing, easing off? Because while it may have been contained somewhat in China, it now seems to be a bigger concern in some of the other markets like Europe.
From point of view of the public at large, the concern is increasing. I think all of us have short-sighted visions or closed visions. We look around us. India is more fortunate than most other parts of the world. While we've had minimal cases, we have had no casualty. The eyes of the world at this point of time are very strongly on what happens in Iran, what happens in Italy, and what happens in the next few days in the US itself. Their approach has perhaps been a little bit more or less careful, and we'd wait to see how these countries develop and if the virus spreads. So it's difficult to predict anything at this point of time, but I see India in the more fortunate part of the world at the moment. I fly every 2 or 3 days, and every single flight domestically is full. I see in this perhaps an opportunity for hotels to tap the domestic traveler if they're not going overseas for work, for leisure, even for destination weddings. We have the opportunity to get them together here, as long as we can convince them that it's safer here.
Mr. Bakaya, what's the solution here? And is there something that you can do as a hotelier to try and mitigate your loss and try and make up for the damage that you're currently seeing?
Ayesha, at the moment we are sort of coming to terms with things. We are perhaps a step or two ahead. The answer, number one, is abundant caution. We're making sure that our staff are following all hygiene procedures. We're making sure hand sanitizers are available for guests as they walk in. We are not in any manner holding back people's payments if they wish to cancel. So I think the answer at the moment is strong reassurance, very strong focus on hygiene, particularly at the level of employees in hotels. We double all those precautions. The answer then is to get back to the domestic market with deals, with offers, with say, look, we can do this for you. We're taking all possible safety measures from our air systems to our water, etc. You are in safe hands, and we'll take good care of you. Don't travel overseas where you have run a higher risk. Come to us, and we're better off.
Longer term basis, and again, this is such a black hole situation. You don't really know what is going to be the impact or how long is going to be the impact of this coronavirus situation, because I guess it's a bit of a sticky spot. You can't really immediately increase your ARRs as well. Would it then impact new property openings or some such things?
It would have an impact on everything. Yeah. It certainly would. New properties, projects, even projects that are underway at the moment, for sure. Long term, just getting a minute away from the very serious stuff. There was a book written a few years ago which talks about this virus. In 2020, it talks about a virus that's going to impact the respiratory system, will come, affect a lot of people, and disappear as fast as it came. And will recur 10 years later. So hopefully, once it goes away, we have a 10-year window. But coming back to more serious stuff, no, your rates are going to go down, not up. They can't possibly go up. You can make better offers. First and foremost, you got to convince people that they're safe when they come to hotels. If they don't get that feeling, they're not going to come to you irrespective of rate. So from our aircon systems, from our air filters, from our water treatment systems, I mean, we need to look at those things like we've never ever looked at them before. I'm not saying we were compromising, but I'm saying we need to now up the game a lot more and have things checked and tested 3 times a day if we were doing it once in 3 days earlier. Convince people that we are good, make sure employees are well protected themselves, and take it forward from that point of view. Hopefully the WHO has a vaccine in the next few weeks.
There has been some talk that when the market does recover, there is still a lot of interest in the industry, particularly in growth in the tier 2 and tier 3 markets, which is, of course, where you are largely prominent. So, what's your outlook when it comes to industry growth, let's say, once this scare is behind us?
Look, this is a temporary blip. It's a serious thing. We won't take it casually, but it's a temporary blip. Going back to the hotel industry overall, and the industry has grown. We are heavily undersupplied, even in the tier 1 markets. If you look at room inventory in India, we are heavily undersupplied in every city. You can't go through even a single large event in any of our cities without hotels being full to capacity and charging 30, 40, 50, 100% more than usual, because there just aren't any rooms for the taking. So there is a requirement for additional rooms. That requirement is going to continue to grow. Tier 2 and 3 make more sense, but really there are 2 key riding factors here. If you can buy land at a reasonable price, you have a better chance of survival. Not all tier 2 and tier 3 cities offer that option. At the moment, there is a bigger and better option at this point of time in India on building in resort locations, which means you go out of a city an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and you build hotels where land is a lot cheaper. And actually, average room rates in these locations are mounting, because there's a larger number of people that are happy to take vacations, take short vacations, take long vacations, take more frequent vacations. So I think there's huge opportunity. I look at India with huge optimism. I've always done that over the last few years, and we've been vindicated. So there is much more to come. Corona is a today issue. The development of the hotel industry over time is a long-term issue. And we hope to get better infrastructure. Certainly helps our business. We hope to have a more sensible loan system in place in India. Otherwise, the growth in India would be lucrative only to people who have access to foreign funds. at low interest rates. The interest rates in India don't encourage investment in hotels.
Thanks so much for joining us this morning and talking us through some of the impact of the virus as well as the larger trend for the hospitality sector.